You're on your balcony tracking $1 million Bitcoin transfer. When you look down, you can see the FBI rolling into your parking lot in full tactical gear. They start counting the floors, then an agent sees you and yells out. You've got time for one last move before they can reach you. As an aspiring cybercrime mastermind, what is your move? This is the true story of the Loot Software extortion case. A masterclass in how not to make it big. In the world of cybercrime, the insider threat can be the ultimate nightmare. Imagine a data analyst building out a new automation for a company's payroll system. They have access to all the employee data, including a database showing upcoming salary changes. Now the company tells that analyst they're firing him soon. Not today, but soon, right before Christmas. And they aren't going to pay out the last 2 months of his contract. But for right now, he needs to keep working on the database. A couple of days later, executives at Brightly Software, a Siemens-owned firm, received an email from lootsoftware@outlook.com. The sender, Loot Software, claimed they had partnered with Brightly to implement a salary transparency project. They included in the email a spreadsheet showing upcoming salaries. Loot would send that file out to all employees unless Brightly paid $2.5 million for them not to. No matter how it's worded, there's no loophole. This is extortion. Brightly quickly realized the data was authentic. In fact, it matched a specific file an analyst, Cameron Curry, had exported just days earlier.
A true insider threat get to skip initial access. This is exactly where DLP and UEBA are supposed to earn their paychecks. Data loss prevention, or DLP, as the bouncer at the door to make sure sensitive payroll spreadsheets aren't being smuggled out to a personal Outlook account. UEBA, User and Entity Behavior Analytics, learns what normal looks like for every employee so it can raise the alarm when a contractor suddenly starts exporting merit roll-ups. They are notoriously tough to implement effectively, especially for insiders who have access to sensitive data because they need it for business processes. If your rules are too tight, business constantly grinds to a halt with false positives. And if your UEBA baseline is built on chaotic network where employees tackle a variety of different situations that come up and staff constantly change, the system can't spot the anomaly that will lead to extortion. But it's easy to look at the logs once it happens and see who pulled those records.
Curry even thought he had a new angle on extortion. He wouldn't just expose the private information of the employees. He threatened to report Brightly to the SEC for failing to disclose a breach that he just caused. But while he was playing legal hardball, he was already leaving digital fingerprints everywhere he touched. Curry sent the company a confidential settlement agreement in a PDF to outline the terms of his extortion demand. The FBI put their sharpest forensicators on the case. They tapped the Get Info button on the PDF, and it had Curry's real name listed as the author in the metadata.
Metadata is data about the file itself. A JPEG shows you a sunset, and its metadata often tells you when the photo was taken, the GPS coordinates, and the camera settings used. In documents like PDFs, the metadata typically includes the author's name, the software used to create it, when the file was last modified.
Curry knew a bit about forensics himself. After all, he had a computer science degree. He had been sending dozens of emails about this extortion plot from his home AT&T residential internet connection. He realized this was a mistake. It was easy to trace. So he decided to up his game. He opened an ExpressVPN account. For the billing information, he put his real name and the Loot Software email address together. and then connected to the Loot Software email account through this ExpressVPN account.
VPNs are not an invisibility cloak. There are ways to see through them. Even we've de-anonymized threat actors behind VPNs before, and the feds have way more access than we do. If you ever log into the same account with and without the VPN, those two identities basically become one. And now other actions you take connected to the VPN can also be linked to your real identity.
The NSA has an even cooler toy, traffic correlation based on the passive adversary model. You can have the strongest encryption you want, but your traffic still has a fingerprint of packet sizes and timing, like a sound wave in a language that nobody's ever heard of.
Amerikaner wissen nicht, wie man the alter Markt ausspricht.
You connect to a no-logs VPN in Antarctica and then to Outlook. If the signal leaving the country from your laptop fits into the signal coming into Microsoft's server, they don't need to break any encryption to know that's you.
Amerikaner wissen nicht, wie man the alter Markt ausspricht.
Now that he had the VPN squared away, he knew he needed an anonymous way to receive his bounty. Naturally, he went with Bitcoin. He pulled his mom's debit card out again and used it to sign up for an account with the cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase.
The account even had his driver's license. Coinbase follows a set of laws called Know Your Customer, or KYC. This requires the holder of the account to provide evidence of an identity linked to the account. Regular people, and some criminals, use their own identity.
Bitcoin isn't untraceable. It was never designed to be. Every single transaction ever made is recorded on the blockchain, a permanent public ledger. Anyone with an internet connection can view the entire history of every Bitcoin wallet. The FBI decided to set a trap. They had Brightly agree to pay half the original ransom demand, $1.3 million. It would take a few days to get that much Bitcoin together, but Brightly could immediately send a few $1,000s as a show of good faith. Loot Software accepted the deal. The FBI watched that payment travel through the blockchain right into that account with the mom's debit card on it, and then into Curry's sister's checking account. Hey, when you're expecting $1 million ransom payment, do something nice for your sister. I always tell people that.
Feds love three things, and one of them is tracking the flow of money.
Curry had also bragged to his ex-girlfriend about his plan, how he's going to become a millionaire, and showed her the emails.
There are 87 things I'd write to my ex, but in this game, the loudest statement is knowing when to leave the page blank.
January 24th comes around. All the evidence lines up. Not much else to do, but get the warrant signed, go get him. They put real-time tracking on Curry's cell phone. The FBI had his address and knew what his vehicle looked like and had photos of Curry, but still, you know.
Feds love three things, and one of them is tracking cell phones.
They show up to the location, an apartment complex with professional management group. Agents in tactical gear are staging in the next parking lot over. They look up and see Curry standing on the balcony looking down at them. They yell to come down. Curry says, "Me? You! We want to have a discussion." Curry walks inside and they wait, but Curry does not come down. One of the agents calls the cell phone they tracked and Curry answered. They tell him they have a federal search warrant. Curry responds with Reddit's favorite line. He tells them that if they actually had a warrant, they'd already be inside the property and not down in the parking lot yelling at him. This is not true. A search warrant does not automatically mean a no-knock raid. If they are able to get Curry to come out peacefully, that prioritizes officer safety. Instead, Curry tells the agent he's going to sleep and hangs up on them. There are three things feds love, and one is when you hang up on them.
Are you kidding? Once he cut the line, that was their cue to take the door.
What would you do if you were a cybercrime mastermind lucky enough to spot the feds preparing to execute a warrant before they spotted you? Cryptographically wipe your drives, warn your associates, deploy a disinformation campaign? You don't want legal advice from me, and I'm not giving it out. But maybe Curry's best move would have been to know when to fold and come downstairs. Young, nonviolent first-time offender, fired the week before Christmas without having his contract paid out. Sent angry emails. Who wouldn't sympathize? And his charges did not have mandatory prison time. There are guidelines, but the court has discretion on these ones. Instead, Curry sent more emails. If you send the police inside, we have a schedule to send going out. That proved it was him. After all of this, and with all of the evidence lining up rock solid, watertight, the prosecutor still offered Curry a deal. Curry sent over 60 extortion emails, had 60 felonies, had an FBI standoff. But if he pled guilty to just the first email, the one count, the prosecutor would drop everything else. And Curry took it. He signed the plea deal. Then, one day, he fired his lawyer, withdrew his plea, decided he wanted to go to trial, take it to a jury. For those who don't know, it's very rare for the U.S. federal government to lose a criminal jury trial. They keep it that way. That reputation is what makes the plea deal system work. While waiting for his trial, what did Curry do? I want you to guess. Think for a second. If you said he made good decisions, he attempted another extortion. This time for $500 million. He did not win that jury trial. This case is in the news because of the jury's recent decision, but the events did attract a bit of attention back when they happened. Tom Simon, PI, posted, "A company receives a $2.5 million extortion demand. Could it be an ex-employee?" It got a like. Wait, let me scroll back up. I try to think of something clever as the last line of these episodes, but I think Curry outdid me.
Behind the surface, follow the chain from initial access to lasting pain. With detective lock, the signal's clear. Breaking it down logically here. Useless injection, deep in scripts. Tool marks and cover, operator slips. Same playbooks, different games.